What are you planning to do around clean energy and engine combustion? What are you planning? How do you see this field changing?
Yeah,
energy.
So as I said, it's all about relooking at our assumptions and our understanding of the universe. So even when you generate electricity by burning coal or fossil fuels, you have to understand that there's a turbine which rotates, and then that is connected to a generator, which is basically a magnet and coils of conductors, right? So now, what exactly is the process by which electricity is generated? Because it is not per se the conversion of your fossil fuels which is creating electricity. The coils are rotating in a magnetic field. There are laws, which say how much electricity will be produced. And so where does this electricity come from? The magnet remains the magnet, the conductor remains the conductor. So, we are already producing electricity out of thin air. It is, see, we have various ways of producing this electricity today, right? Solar panels convert your radiation directly to electricity. You have the thermocouple effect, whereby, a temperature gradient can create electricity.
But the question is, can this be created at a scale at which we consume it?
Yeah, I think that is where the challenge is, and that is where science has to, really
so there's
evolve.
Geothermal energy, there's energy which you can produce from the sea waves. There's solar. The solar, if you want to do solar, the solar farms take, they're competing with agriculture. You can put wind turbines, but can you produce it at a scale is a question.
Nuclear fusion was touted to be the answer. If we can recreate the processes of the sun, this solves all our problems, because the sun never.
And it's there. You can see it. There's a living proof for it.
Yeah. So
that didn't take off, possibly. Or did it?
It's not a question of taking off per se. I mean, listen, at some point of time, we have to take a backseat, right? And say, okay, we believed that this is how the sun works. We believed it for 100 years. And just like we believed that the earth was at the center of the universe. What if we are wrong, right?
So are you challenging what people understand about sun?
Yes.
What's your base?
Okay, so what are the four big questions that still remain unanswered, whether be it quantum or be it the classical fields, right? It's still gravity, it's still dark energy, it's still dark matter, right? And even though the forms, are more or less the same. For example, in the quantum, you have the SU3 symmetry, you have the SU2 symmetry, and the U1, which is a strong, weak, and the electromagnetic, interactions. In the classical, you have this whole force and acceleration paradigm, right? While Newton thought that, all the planets were, somehow connected by a string, this is how we visualized force. Einstein came and said, it's a fabric. Why can't we move beyond that and say, could we treat, space as a quantum field with fluid-like properties?
It's an opera, possibly.
Oh yeah, 100%. So, the way I look at it is, let's say you want to create symphony, and the symphony is the way the universe works. You want to understand the symphony. You want to understand what is the song to which the universe moves, right? And then you have this whole sea of observations, right? Can you imagine Einstein playing with, the plethora of observations that we have? Would he come to the same conclusion? Right. So now, if you let go of the theories which are limiting in a lot of ways, and you just look at observations and you arrange the observations in the right way, you have to answer each and every of those observations. So, for example, the biggest challenge for any model of gravity is to explain the superrotation. I don't know if you're familiar with superrotation. It's basically when the upper atmosphere rotates faster than the planet. How is it possible if it's a smooth gradient, as Einstein said? How is it possible if there is a string? Is there a dip in the string? How is that elasticity coming into picture? So maybe we have to relook and think: is it the Earth which is making the space around it or the air around it spin, or is it the air itself which is making the Earth spin? Right? So can you imagine a single observation, which you have so far bucketed in climate sciences, when you bring it, to classical physics and you ask people to explain, the only explanation that sounds viable is that it's a space which is, making things rotate. And rotation and spin we see them everywhere. You look at galaxies, you look at stars, you look at our solar system. And yet, none of these theories actually, talk in depth about why this rotation takes place. So, there's a lot that needs to be
just explored. Summing up, So what do we look forward from you in the next 1.5, 2 years? You've already challenged that fusion doesn't work. You're questioning, whether the air is spinning the earth or the earth is spinning the air. And it is great, if you can have a discourse on it. So what are we looking forward from you in the next 2 years?
Yeah, I think if we drill down to it, I believe it's possible to recreate the process of the sun. It's possible to create clean, sustainable, renewable, and an infinite source of energy is available. It's just a question of understanding how exactly the universe works. And as engineers, it is up to us to use our innovation, to use our creativity to figure out the best and most efficient way to.
So is Amit Krishnan saying we'll have energy on tap, like water?
100%, for sure.
And it's clean?
Yes, it's possible.
Tesla tried it, but he never made it.
Probably if Tesla had the money that he wanted, we could have been living in a very different world.
Maybe. But thank you so much, Amit, for your time, and it's glad.
No, thank you so much.
Glad you took time for it. Thank you so much.
I think wonderful conversation, and as usual, it's always great.
We'll continue this series, and thank you.
Sure. Thank you.